Right, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Barry from Hubris Strategic and Hubris Tactical. Just came off our low light, our reduced lighting training session was excellent. We had our participants go through the paces, techniques, weapon mounted lights, handheld techniques, etc. as the case might be. Very effective training. Get on board with our reduced lighting training program. You can message me WhatsApp me at 487-1476 and for the registration details, or you can just go to our website at hubristactical.org. On our registration page, just scroll through, you're gonna see our low light registration form. Just click the link, fill the form out, submit, and then we're gonna communicate with you, and we're gonna set up our training days as the case might be. Yeah, so take full advantage of our reduced lighting course. It's very dynamic. It's not what is generally done. We put a different spin on things. We capture the full concept of reduced lighting tactics as the case might be. Not just for on the externally, but we also treat with internally. Dealing with inside a building and inside. So it's a whole big program that we tailor for our clients. Yeah, so take full advantage of it. So today we want to talk about vehicle mounted holsters. Right? I want to treat with vehicle mounted holsters. And for those who don't understand the concept, these are holsters that are specifically designed to be mounted in a vehicle, whether it's on the dashboard, below the dashboard, or affixed to the seat of the vehicle, whether it's affixed to the door of the vehicle, the inside portion, the part of the door of the vehicle. Technology has evolved in relation to tactical equipment that now you have holsters that can literally be affixed to almost anything. There are some holsters that are so modular that they transition easy from your vehicle setup to right back into concealed carry. Then there are just some that are specifically designed for vehicle use only, and then you have to take it out to reholster in your concealed carry status, or your concealed carry profile, so to speak. Right? So, but today I want to discuss the tactical considerations for vehicle mounted holsters. So let's just take a look at the type of mounting areas where you'd be able to store your firearm. Let's look at under the dashboard for one. Let's look at to the front of the seat, where that seat is, to the front of the seat. And then there are holsters designed for the door panel, on your driver's side door panel. And for those who don't live where I live, we drive right hand-sided vehicles. So let's take a look at those three aspects. All right. Let's look at the concept of a vehicle, and let's look at in your vehicle, and you are moving from point A to point B, and there is a vehicle ambush. So you may be accosted by multiple vehicles, and time is crucial in the way you deploy your firearm. We're talking critical incident here. We're talking about a shooting incident, potentially shooting incident. So you want to deploy a firearm as quickly as possible. In a scenario where you're in a vehicle and your first intention is to deploy your firearm, it may be to your benefit, depending on your confidence and your competence, to have that firearm stored in a holster mounted to your vehicle, whether it be the dashboard or the seat. But there are some things that you need to take into consideration. One, if the scenario dictates that you have to leave the vehicle in a hurry, what is the potential of you leaving the vehicle and also leaving the firearm in the vehicle? Now, if that happens to you, then obviously the scenario changes, the dynamics change. So your gunfight now becomes a race. When I mean a race, I mean a running race. So because, you know, you had a leaf. You can't get in a gunfight without a gun. You can't just bring two bare hands to a gunfight. So that scenario would tremendously put you at a great disadvantage. For those who knows about our vehicle ambush training, we know that vehicles are bullet magnets. They attract bullets. Why? Because a vehicle is a very big target. It is much different to the signature of a smaller target. So let's take, for example, is it easier for a threat to aim at as a car that is, let's say, 10 meters away, opposed to a person crouched behind cover, which is harder to hit? I mean, the smaller target behind cover is obviously will be, you know, a much more difficult target to hit, opposed to a bigger target like a vehicle. The thing with a vehicle, once rounds hit the vehicle, then the shooter would be able to evaluate where the hits are and then make adjustments easily, opposed to aiming at a person, a target behind cover where they may not see where the rounds hitting, and to make that necessary adjustments to be on target. You know, so there are different dynamics when it comes to vehicle type training. And you know, I don't want to talk too much on that aspect, but I want to talk more about the deployment of your holster from your vehicle. Now, there are schools of thought that, listen, training comes down to everything, and we could agree on that. Is it easier for me, or is it more functional for me to train to deploy the firearm from my person in concealed carry, or is it much more functional for me to draw the firearm from a vehicle mounted holster? And that depends on lifestyle, preference, and scalability and the ability. So I may be able to deploy my firearm from a holster that's mounted to the dashboard in 2 seconds or less. And effectively do it effectively. I can also train to deploy my firearm from my person in a concealed carry position in 2 seconds or less. So, and that's just reps and training, right? So if we could kind of understand where they kind of meet in the middle, where deploying a firearm from a seat mounted holster or a dashboard mounted holster could mitigate between the same as deploying it from, you know, concealed carry in the vehicle. You know what I mean? So that cancels out each other. So then let's look at the scenario where incoming rounds, you started taking incoming rounds, and the only opportunity you have is to exit the vehicle quickly, in a response to that active threat, that real active threat, where the window is so small that you only have sufficient time to leave the vehicle. And if that is the scenario where you only have sufficient time to respond to leave the vehicle, the risk of leaving the firearm now becomes real. Becomes very real. And if you being engaged and you leave your firearm in the vehicle, then you have options. Of course, you can surrender, which, you know, is not an option really. You can run, which is might be the only option you have. That might make sense. Or you might have to go back into the vehicle to retrieve your firearm. And having spoken about the issue of our vehicle being a bullet magnet, you know, you may not want to take the option 3 unless that is the only option you have. That is the only choice you have. But if the firearm is carried on your person, then it totally eliminates that. It eliminates that whole problem. Incoming rounds, without warning, incoming rounds, and the only time you have is to exit the vehicle or to leave the kill zone. You're absolutely certain your firearm going to be coming into you because it's on your person, right? So again, you weigh the two. You look at your lifestyle, you look at your training ability, you look at your competence, you look at your confidence in handling your firearm, and you determine what is best for you. What might be best for me might be best for me. You have to evaluate. You have to take reasonable steps to evaluate. But more than that, you need to take steps to train. So whether you carry a weapon in a vehicle-mounted holster or you carry the weapon on your person, you need to train to deploy that firearm in a critical incident from a vehicle. So that is where our vehicle ambush course comes in. Our vehicle ambush course, it can be done. We do two types. We do team shooting tactics, where we train tactical units, security response team and task force and that kind of thing. And then we treat with individual tactics, where there's only one person, a civilian, you're in a vehicle, there's an ambush, and you have family members around. How do you deploy? What do you do? Etc. etc. And that will also mitigate how you carry a firearm, whether it's a vehicle mounted holster or if it's carried on your person. All these factors would have to be considered, you know. So take full advantage of our vehicle ambush courses. You can message me at 4871476 for further information, or you can go straight to our website at hubristactical.org on our registration page, and just scroll down and you're going to see that selection for vehicle ambush, and you could register directly from there. Of course, we're going to email you and we're going to make our dates and that kind of thing, and we get your training going. Yeah. So a very short video. If there are any discussions, you know, any comments, there's a different view, post in the comments, communicate with us. Let's have a discussion. You know, we have no issues with having discussions, you know, concerning anything that we do. You know, and there's always refreshing to get another perspective on these things, you know. So yeah, this is Barry for Hubris Strategic and Hubris Tactical saying stay safe and keep shooting. Take it easy.